The S30 Pro raised the price, so we ran our math twice. Look at this before we say anything. On the left, we see the image from S30's secondary sensor. On the right, it's S30 Pro. Same afternoon, same sky. The streaks on the left are optical artifacts that showed up in every single session we ran on the S30, not occasionally, but every time. The image on the right is clean, warm, and detailed in a way the S30 never managed. That difference alone tells you something real changed in this telescope. And it also tells you something about why the component cost went up. But the secondary sensor is only part of that story, so hold it in mind while we show you the rest. Solar imaging. The Pro's starting point already beats the S30's ceiling. And at 4 times zoom on the S30 Pro, you start to see photospheric granulation, the actual surface texture of the sun. Then the moon at maximum zoom. The S30 Pro holds resolution exactly where the S30 begins to soften. Crater walls, ray systems, the fine boundary between highland and mare. All of it sharper, all of it cleaner. Next, Orion Nebula. Better noise floor, more outer nebulosity, measurably stronger result. Not a marginal difference. So across every target we tested, daytime, solar, lunar, deep sky, the hardware is genuinely better, and that improvement has a direct relationship to the price conversation we are about to have. But before we get there is one target where that conversation stops mattering entirely: Jupiter. Maximum zoom on both telescopes, the disk is visible, the Galilean moons are separating. And that is exactly where it ends, because no amount of sensor improvement resolves atmospheric banding through 30 millimeters of aperture. This is the Rayleigh criterion. 30 millimeters has a physical diffraction limit that no price point changes. Now, imagine the S50 Pro, which is set to release later this year, has 50 millimeters, which drops that limit by 60%. Still not great at planetary imaging, but will be real optical justice to the sensor, the only real answer to this platform. With that established, the hardware earned the conversation. Now here's what the math our sourcing team at Edisla actually found. S30 was $399, S30 Pro launched at $549, moved to $599, and now sits at $699. $300 of jump across the product line. And the question we set out to answer is not just whether $699 is fair, but whether $300 of price increase matches $300 of real improvement. From the images, the hardware improvement is genuine and visible, so the upgrade is real. But genuine improvement and fair pricing are two separate questions, and the cost analysis is where they split apart. We priced every major component in this telescope at volume OEM rates from public databases and cross-checked using 2 additional methods: analog comparison against ZWO camera line and a tariff-adjusted import model. We do not have their internal books, nobody outside them does, but 3 independent frameworks all landed in the same place. Sources are in the description if you want to verify the work. The S30 cost approximately $130 to $145 in components and sold for $399. Within its justified range, fair pricing. The S30 Pro costs approximately $180 to $220 in components. The hardware cost went up by roughly $60 to $70. Better sensors, better optics, more storage. That improvement is genuine and accounted for. But add manufacturing, R&D, import costs, and dealer margin, and all 3 frameworks produce the same cost-justified retail range, $549 to $600, which is exactly what they charged at launch. The current $699 sits $100 to $150 above that range. So of the $300 jump from S30 to S30 Pro, $60 to $70 is real hardware improvement, $80 to $100 is the cost and uncertainty layer, and the remaining $100 to $150 is where Seestar's explanation runs out. They cite raw material costs and Sony sensor price increases. We checked. The data supports some of that, not all of it, especially in light of the quiet retirement of cheaper S50 and S30. Also, this is not the first time ZWO has tested pricing limits. Last March, they raised prices across their main line, citing the US-China trade war. The community pushed back, they corrected and kept the hike US only. This time, the stated reason is different. Raw materials and Sony sensor costs globally. A broader framing, harder to challenge, but the pattern looks the same. Which brings us to where this price sits against the rest of the platform. Because that context changes how you read $699 entirely. The S30 at $399 was fair. The S50 at $499 was actually below its cost-justified range. 2.78 times more light gathering than the S30 for $100 more. The best value product ZWO ever made, now discontinued. The S30 Pro at $699 is the first product in this line that carries a documented premium above cost-justified pricing. And the S50 Pro, which we ran through the same projection using its confirmed 50mm aperture, has a cost-justified range of $650 to $760. At $799, the value promise holds. At $899, it is borderline. Above $999, the numbers no longer support the price. And that one figure, whenever Seestar announces it, will tell us more about where this platform is heading. But that is the future. Right now, there are 3 types of people watching this, and the honest answer is different for each of them. If $699 is in your budget and you are ready to buy it. The imaging results are strong across every category except Planetary. The software is the best in this category, and the platform has real legs. But go in understanding what you are paying. $100 to $150 of that $699 is tariff and scarcity premium, not product quality. The backlog is real, planned for weeks, not days. And the S50 Pro is confirmed, so if much better optics matter to you, waiting is the smarter move. If you already own the S50 and it just got discontinued under you, do not upgrade to the S30 Pro. Your telescope still outperforms on targets because aperture beats sensor generation at this scale, and the S50 Pro is your natural upgrade path. The S30 Pro makes sense only as a simultaneous second device. We ran both telescopes on one app at the same time, and that workflow is genuinely powerful. But as a direct replacement, it is the wrong direction. And if budget is the constraint, the Dwarf Mini under $400 is still the honest first answer. The performance gap between Dwarf Mini and S30 Pro is real, but it is not $300 real for a first purchase. Which situation is yours? Drop it in the comments. Is it worth $699? The hardware, yes. The price you are paying and whether that is acceptable depends entirely on your unique situation. Clear skies from Adisla.